Blanka Kamila, host of Elevator and founder of Maximind Self-Development, but also your elevator operator, and today I'm taking you up to level 2. I am going to be teaching you how to end your self-sabotage, and before you tell me I don't self-sabotage, I'm perfect, I'm fine, I really don't need this episode, and I would rather an episode that's cute and fun, like how do I make more money, how do I gain more confidence, how do I get better grades at school? Hold up, you need this episode and everybody needs this episode. So before you tell me that I don't self-sabotage, let's think again. Self-sabotage includes procrastination, failing in tests or sporting events even though you practiced enough to do well, falling into patterns which ruin your relationships, overspending your money, negative self-talk, perfectionism, fear of success, overthinking, the list goes on. So if you've never experienced any of that, I guess you're just so perfect and this episode is going to be no use to you. And the only thing that it'll teach you is about how your subconscious mind controls your behaviors and how to use that to your advantage. Before I teach you how self-sabotage occurs, how your past experiences and trauma influence your future, the dangers of not reprogramming your subconscious mind, why you won't succeed if self-sabotage is still in the picture, the massive correlation between self-worth and self-sabotage, and exactly how to end your self-sabotage forever, I need to give you my definition of self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is when you get in your own way, consciously or unconsciously, by doing things that block your success, happiness, or growth. Now, it's often rooted in fear, low self-worth, or limiting beliefs, and can show up, like we said, as procrastination, toxic relationships, perfectionism, overthinking, or pushing away good things because deep down you believe that you don't deserve them. Basically, your subconscious mind is trying to protect you, even though it's holding you back. Now, the interesting thing with self-sabotage is that at times it's really easy to tell, oh, I'm self-sabotaging, and other times you just can't tell. Someone else might look at you and be like, oh, I think that's self-sabotage. I think she's self-sabotaging, but you might not consciously be able to tell that you're doing that to yourself. I'm going to give you some examples from my notes of easy to tell self-sabotage scenarios, which include procrastination, quitting right before a big breakthrough, imposter syndrome, starting arguments out of nowhere, etc. Now, we can all see that these are things that you might not really be consciously doing, but you do them anyway. You're kind of like, why did I do that? And then you can see that it's kind of ruined something for you. Procrastination. You're like, oh, why do I always do this? Why do I always do this? I am not doing as well in school because I procrastinate. I could be achieving so much more in business, but I'm not because I'm procrastinating. Quitting right before a breakthrough. You kind of start to freak out and then you're like, why did I do that? Like, that was a good opportunity. Why did I convince myself that it wasn't? Why did I not do enough to succeed in that situation? Imposter syndrome. Oh, I really want this. I'm so glad that I'm at this event. I'm so glad that I'm in this movie, but hold on, I feel like I don't deserve it. I just need to step back. I don't deserve this. And the fourth one was starting arguments out of nowhere. You might have, and we're going to get into all this later, but you might have some toxic tendencies or habits that make you start these arguments out of nowhere, and you're thinking, why did I do that? Now we're having an argument. Hold on, we're going to talk about it later. Now, some harder to tell scenarios of still self-sabotage. In my notes, I have messing up on a test that you were confident that you'd do well in, unconsciously pushing yourself into sport-related injuries. Something little, for example, messing up your makeup before a big event, making up fake arguments in your head with someone, which leads to resentment. All cases of self-sabotage, all extremely different scenarios. Self-sabotage generally happens because of 2 reasons, which include reason number 1, addiction to negative emotions, reason number 2, the comfort zone. Let's get into it. Again, from my notes, addiction to negative emotions. Repeated exposure to negative emotions like stress, guilt, shame, fear, whatever, strengthen the neural pathways associated with those feelings. Stress, guilt, shame, fear. Now, over time, your brain can become biochemically conditioned to seek those states out, similar to how it seeks out familiar rewards. Now, this is because emotional states release predictable neurotransmitters like cortisol or dopamine, whatever. This is because emotional states release predictable neurotransmitters like cortisol or even dopamine, which your brain begins to crave even if they feel bad. This cycle can lead to people unconsciously recreating situations that trigger those same negative emotions, reinforcing self-sabotage patterns. Okay, let me put this into an example. Our good friend Sally. Sally gets cheated on. She's sad. She's upset. She's in fear of getting cheated on again. Sally might self-sabotage herself. Hold on, actually. Let's rewind. Sally thinks about this very often, and because Sally's subconscious mind can't tell the difference between a real and vividly imagined event, meaning she uses her 5 senses and a lot of emotion of sadness and fear and whatever else she's feeling. Sally's subconscious mind can't tell the difference between getting actually cheated on and the fake scenario that she's made up in her head and reimagined vividly. So let's say Sally's imagined this 20 times. Her brain will literally think that she got cheated on 21 times. Okay, and then this creates neural pathways. And Sally then becomes conditioned to crave these emotions. Even though they feel bad, she starts releasing neurotransmitters that she then becomes addicted to. And then she sees, maybe subconsciously, that guy reminds me of the ex that cheated on me. I'm going to go for him. Even though she doesn't want to get cheated on because she hates the feeling and she hates the way that that person made her feel, she will still seek out that familiar feeling by going after someone that she believes can release that feeling. And maybe she doesn't even know about it. It could be all subconscious, but she craves that feeling that she's become addicted to. Now, the second possible reason for self-sabotage is the comfort zone. The subconscious mind is wired to keep you alive, not to help you grow. And when you step outside of your comfort zone, for example, pursuing goals, love, success, whatever, your brain may activate fight or flight and therefore perceive this change as danger simply because it's unfamiliar or makes you feel nervous. Now, this triggers the amygdala, also known as your fear center, which can lead to resistance, procrastination, or even full-blown self-sabotage. And it's all to pull you back into the safe and predictable zone. Now, your response isn't logical here. We can see that. It's survival based. And your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between emotional risk and physical threat unless you consciously reprogram it, which we will get into. Now, the last but most uncommon reason for self-sabotage, which I still wanted to mention, even though it's uncommon, it's super important: self-worth. Now, we spoke about self-worth in last week's episode. If you haven't watched that, I highly recommend that you get through it. The whole thing, from start to finish, every single thing we cover, extremely important. Self-worth is a topic that I could talk about and go on for hours and hours, probably days. We cut that down into 32 minutes. It's packed with the most important information on self-worth. Now, the correlation between self-sabotage and self-worth. By this, I mean that if your self-worth is low and you don't believe that you're good enough or not capable enough of the success that you desire, there is a mismatch. Now, I believe that this is a case of cognitive dissonance, meaning that if your identity says, I'm not good enough, people like me don't succeed, I'm not smart enough for this and this and that, but your goals say, I want to be wealthy, I want to be in a healthy relationship, I want to graduate med school, for example. Now, this creates a big mismatch. And because your identity and goals don't align, let's keep in mind your subconscious mind and your subconscious beliefs control 95% of your thoughts, feelings, behaviors. If your subconscious beliefs are, I'm not good enough, people like me don't succeed, I don't deserve this, I'm not smart enough, think about it. 95% of your behaviors will reflect those beliefs of not being good enough, of not deserving, of people like me can't get rich. If 95% of your behaviors are controlled by those beliefs, what do you think the chances are of your success? Pretty freaking low. Now, this doesn't at all mean that you can't succeed, and I'm going to help you rewire your subconscious mind and completely get rid of these beliefs that are holding you back and therefore causing you to self-sabotage. before we do that, we are hitting the emergency stop button. Now, a lot of people can't tell the difference between fear of failure and fear of success. In my opinion, fear of success is so much more dangerous. So much more dangerous because a lot of the time it's completely unconscious. We have no idea that we fear success. And because your subconscious mind believes that fear is equivalent to death, if you fear something consciously or unconsciously, you might not even realize that you fear something. Your subconscious mind will control 95% of your behaviors to hold you back as much as possible. For example, you might have beliefs like, if I succeed, I won't have time for my partner. I can't get rich because I'll become an evil person. To some people, that might sound crazy. To others, maybe you've been told that, oh, the people that control the world are really rich and they're evil people, and that may have scared you. And you might think, oh, well, I can't get rich because I can't be an evil person. You might not even realize that you think that way. I can't get drafted to that NBA team because I'll have to move away from home. I can't create a high quality video because you're scared of going viral. And that fear of going viral will literally control 95% of your behaviors to behave in a way that creates a low quality video. Literally, what the hell? And it was, like I said, the fear of embarrassment, public embarrassment, being seen, even though you consciously want to go viral, your goal is to go viral, but you have a fear of, no, I don't want to be seen, I don't want to be publicly embarrassed, whatever. That contradicts. And this fear will control 95% of your behaviors, maybe create a low quality video or thumbnail or whatever it takes to go viral so that you don't go viral. And that's why you can't reach your goals, because of this self-sabotage that you don't even know is happening to you. Now, I'm going to give you some examples. You may chase emotionally unavailable partners because as a child, love felt inconsistent and your subconscious is trying to win the love that you never got. Or maybe you never feel proud or satisfied of the work that you produce, and instead you might feel relieved that it's finished. This could be a result of maybe your parents, instead of praising and rewarding you for when you did something good, they threatened you with a punishment or a consequence for not doing something. I can 1,000,000% relate to this. This was 100% me. I was very, oh, Blanka, if you don't wash the dishes, we're taking your phone away. Blanka, if you don't do all your chores, no TV. Blanka, if you don't clean the toilet and the bathroom like I asked you, no sugar sweets for the whole week. When in reality, praising and reward makes a much bigger difference. Oh, Blanka, if you do all your chores in less than an hour, you can have an extra 15 minutes on your phone. By the way, this doesn't happen anymore. This was when I was about, let's say 13, okay? Or, oh, Blanka, I'll give you a chocolate if you do your chores in, under an hour, whatever the situation was. If other people are associated, the example could be people might let toxic people into their life as they remind them of someone else they care about. And they think that fixing this toxic person will feel like they've made up for not fixing the person that the toxic person reminds them of, if that makes sense. So for example, let's say that you were without a father for a lot of your life, and while your father was in your life, he treated you with disrespect. Maybe his love for you was inconsistent and he wasn't as caring as a father should be. You might meet people with similar qualities as your dad, inconsistent as love, not caring enough, whatever the qualities may be, and you might try to fix that person because in a way you feel like you're fixing your dad. The problem with this is that a person can't be fixed unless they're trying to fix themselves. And I keep saying fix, it's not a good word. A person can't be healed unless they are actively trying to do the healing themselves. You can't access their subconscious mind, heal the trauma for them, change their subconscious beliefs to therefore change their behavior. And you trying to do that is self-sabotaging you. You're going to end up in a relationship that isn't good for you, that you're not worthy of. By not worthy of, I mean that you're worthy of so much more. And, you're wasting your time with a person if that person doesn't want to be healed or changed or helped. And that's a way of your brain self-sabotaging. by being with them or trying to be with them. Now, in order to end these certain cycles of self-sabotage linked to not feeling worthy of the things that you want, you need to rewrite your self-worth. Last week's episode, all about self-worth. Like I previously mentioned, go watch it if you haven't. A massive, massive, massive component to self-sabotage is low self-worth. So once you heighten your self-worth, like I said, everything that you need to heighten your self-worth is in last week's video. But once you do that, you will see the biggest difference in your self-sabotage. However, self-worth is not the only thing that contributes to self-sabotage. We need to reprogram your subconscious mind as it controls 95% of your thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and therefore your self-sabotage. So whatever beliefs you hold about yourself, about money, about success, about love in your subconscious mind, those beliefs control 95% of your thoughts, feelings, behaviors. Like I just said, meaning your self-sabotage. So before we start rewriting your subconscious mind into I'm worthy of this, money's great, there's nothing to be worried about, we need to clear your old beliefs. The old fears and limiting beliefs that create the self-sabotage before we can rewrite it with positive, empowering beliefs supporting goal completion. Now, I highly, highly, highly encourage you to email us at contact@maxmind-coaching.com. It'll be linked in the show notes. Email us. All you have to do is request the free resources for identifying and clearing limiting beliefs, and we'll send them to you, so that you can forever end your self-sabotage. Keep the resources forever. Use them whenever you discover a new fear pop up. Whatever. While sipping today's shot of the day, of course, from the Lobby Cafe, I'm giving you a shot of the day. You need to start intentional neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change, adapt, rewire itself. Neuroplasticity, what a big word, Blanka. What are you telling me to do? This sounds expensive. This sounds like a freaking procedure that I have to go to the hospital for. A big surgery that's going to change my life forever. You're wrong, except for the last part. It will change your life forever, but it's not expensive and I can help you do it. There are a few important things that you need to know about your subconscious mind. One of which is that your subconscious mind can't tell the difference between a real and vividly imagined event, like we mentioned before with Sally getting cheated on. By vividly imagined event, I mean use your 5 senses, or as many of them as you can, and use emotion, intense emotion. From the notes, this means that every time you repeat a thought, habit, or reaction, you're strengthening a specific neural pathway. When you consciously choose new thoughts and actions using emotion, 5 senses, and most importantly, repetition, you create entirely new patterns in the brain, which means you're not stuck being how you've always been, meaning that you can rewire it for success, making money, being confident, anything that you want, meaning that it'll control 95% of your thoughts to do with making money, success, being confident, anything that you want. To do this, you need to, after identifying and clearing your limiting beliefs, which you're going to email us for the worksheets, so we're getting that step out the way. The second step is neuroplasticity. You're going to rewire your neural pathways. Now, my favorite way of doing this, sit in silence, in darkness. Shh. Now you are going to close your eyes with insane detail, insane emotion. Imagine whatever you want, your dream life, receiving a big fat check with whatever amount of money that you want. Maybe it's being in that relationship with a person, the dream car you want, moving to whatever country you want to live in, whatever city. And because you're vividly imagining it, your subconscious mind won't be able to tell the difference between this actually happening to you and you vividly imagining it. So when you vividly imagine this event with repetition, your subconscious mind can't tell that this didn't actually happen to you once, twice, 6 times, 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. If you imagine this 1,000 times, let me add, 60 times you need to imagine this to create a neural pathway. However, if you imagine this 1,000 times, your subconscious mind is going to think that you've achieved this 1,000 times. Do you have any idea how easy it'll be for you to actually achieve this? If your mind thinks that this has already happened to you 1,000 times, you're going to do it again in real life this time, because your subconscious mind is going to be like, I've done this, nothing's blocking me, nothing bad happened to me. There's no associated threat. This isn't dangerous. I know I can do this. I've proved to myself that I can do this. You are going to be able to do this. We're going to steer a little bit off track here, but I thought that this was so important to mention. We are going to do a quick little segment on how self-sabotage ruins relationships. Sabotage doesn't only block money and goals, it also sabotages connection. Now, you might push people away, stay in dysfunction, avoid honesty, or fear of being seen because your subconscious associates love with pain, abandonment, or lack of control. You may have gone through an experience in your childhood or in the past where you didn't associate love with something positive, or you didn't associate vulnerability with something positive, meaning that you self-sabotage your own relationships and connections because you so deeply fear that feeling of lack of control, pain, whatever you have felt in the past. In this case, you should actively try to reprogram your mind, assess your inner child wounds, but most of all, be honest with your partner and yourself. Keep in mind, nothing changes if nothing changes. You will never be able to change your patterns